So, for today's English lesson, you are going to be planning your story. So, you're going to be planning the main events that are going to be happening in your story. And probably the most important thing you need to think about when you're planning and writing a story is the beginning. Because if people are not interested and you don't hook them in immediately from the beginning, they're not going to want to carry on reading your story. So the first few lines of any piece of writing are essential because they set the tone and hopefully make the reader want to read on. Look at this for an example here. So here we've got an opening line from Roald Dahl's books. When I was 4 months old, my mother died suddenly and my father was left to look after me all by himself. Now, what that does in that story opening is it's got questions in my mind now. How did his dad cope looking after him all by himself? How did his mother die suddenly? I want to read, I want to find out more. And that's the intention of hooking your reader in from the beginning. So, how do you make the reader want to move on? The first lines should leave the reader asking questions. Here's another example. I disappeared on the night before my 12th birthday. So, what questions have you got? Why did he disappear before he was 12? Where did he disappear to? I best read on and read some more to find out. So, how should you begin? There are many different ways to start a story, okay? Here are just a few of them to give you some ideas for your own stories. You could begin by describing your character, like this one has here. Once there were 4 children whose names were Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy. Wonder how many of you know which story that's from? You're right, the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Or you could begin with a description of your setting, both things you've been working on this week. The hottest day of the summer so far was drawing to a close, and a drowsy silence lay over the large square houses of Privet Drive. I know you all know where Privet Drive is. Yes, it's where Harry Potter lived. Or how about you start your story with a description of a setting and a character. 1,000 miles ago, in a country east of the jungle and south of the mountains, there lived a firework maker called Lackland and his daughter, Lila. There you go. We've got a brief introduction telling me a little bit about the setting, a little bit about the characters, not too much because I'll learn more as the story goes by. Or maybe with some action, you want to get straight into some action. And you might start by writing, Peter crouched over the fire, stirring the embers so that the sparks swarmed up like imps on the rocky walls of hell. There's a picture that he's describing the action of there. Or another way you could is through speech. It could be start straight away by a dialogue between two characters, or just they're being addressed directly as the reader. Going shopping in the village, George's mother said to George on a Saturday morning. So be a good boy and don't get up to mischief. George's marvellous medicine, that's how that story opens. Or maybe a question. Question's always a good example to hook a reader in and get them thinking. Ever had that feeling your life's been flushed down the toilet? I'm thinking, wonder why that person's thinking that as well. I'll have to read the story and find out. Or maybe, I tell you, there's lots of different ways you could start your story with a statement. It's a funny thing about mothers and fathers. Even when their own child is the most disgusting little blister you could ever imagine, they still think that he or she is wonderful. And then again, we've got Roald Dahl because he's so good at hooking readers in with his stories. And that's an example from Matilda. Remember, the opening of your story should normally tell the reader where and when the story